Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today on this fine Saturday night. Uh, I'm just going to shoot the breeze a little bit, let some people come into the video. I appreciate the folks that are here. Right now, we have Melinda, Nick. Uh, let's see. That's it for right now, which is fine because I didn't want to be late. I always try and be punctual in life, and plus I'm kind of experimenting with. I, I've never done a live that I can. I think I participated on a live event. I got to remember to look at the camera here. I've never done a live event like on my own with a guest, what have you. So I know the lighting's not the greatest right here. I'm kind of dealing with the what I've been dealt. Looks like JJ Drones just showed up. What's up? JJ Jones in the house. So that's always nice to see. But I'm real excited about our guest tonight. Nick Conway is a really cool dude. He is from Texas. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes. I don't have that real long fancy intro like JJ Drones, but hey, this is the long drawn out intro. I'm on the road to 400 right now. Anyway, so right now we're gonna. Yeah, I see someone laughing in the background. I'm gonna. Uh, we'll be pulling Nick up here shortly. I just want to kill some time, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about Nick and his. What I know about him, and it's sometimes you meet somebody in life. It doesn't have to be a face to face meeting. That's the coolest thing about YouTube. Sometimes you just meet people and you just know you're kind of bonded at the heart, so to speak, and you have a really good you have a good feeling about somebody, and that's how I feel about Nick. So he was definitely uh, the one I wanted to bring up for this event, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not well. Let me clarify that. Him and Cody. I wanted Cody too, and right now we're going with Nick. Cody could be another later date, but Cody's a cool dude. Everybody knows Cody. So so right now I'm going to tell you a little bit about Nick and just a little bit about his personal life. I'm not going to try and get too personal, but let me see here. Bear with me. I'm not the most organized guy in the world. Yeah. Hey, I'm not doing too well here, am I? All right. All right. Nick Nick Conway is a really cool dude. His channel name is at Multi Hunter 24/7. Really nice guy. From what I've seen, mostly his content is mostly like fishing, or excuse me, hunting. Rumor has it he does some fishing. I haven't seen any of that yet, but and then he's very big with his family, so that's all good stuff. So I'm just reading. We talked a little bit. I asked him for a short bio. I know a lot of. I just wanted to get clarification on some things. So he says he lives in Hawley, which is 20 minutes north of Abilene. That would be Abilene, Texas, obviously. Um, they have four children. He has a wife. Uh, they have four girls, 13, 9, one that will be 4, and another one that is 10 months old. And this is funny. Like I was really digging deep. Uh, they have chickens, goats, quail, and one male dog named Mr. Bean. I hope Mr. Bean's watching. Uh, I do love me some dogs. And Mr. Bean is a blood boxer. And the coolest thing, which is, man, this has worked out really well, was not was or is, but Nick and his wife are going to be celebrating their 8th anniversary on this Tuesday. So uh, let's uh, let's see if we can bring Nick Conway into this event, and then I might bust his nuggets a little bit, and then we'll let him talk. Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, G Money?
G Money. You know what
AKA Tex.
I had to throw that in there for a little Yankee humor. Let me ask you this. You may have heard this previously, and it's probably a common saying down yonder way, but tell us, if you can clarify, what's the difference between a Yankee and a damn Yankee? Do you remember?
Oh man, you are busting my chops. No, I don't.
All right. I had a friend when I was 18ish. I lived and worked in Garland, Texas for a while with my grandfather, and there was a guy named Johnny Rowland. He looked mean as could be. His face was kind of pocky, but he had one of those handlebar mustache, and this dude was like a true cowboy. Matter of fact, he founded Texas High School Rodeo, and
Oh, wow.
so he was always busting my chops on something. He knew I had ties to Texas somewhat, and he says to me one day, he goes, I don't know why he called me Toad, but he called me Toad for some reason, right? So I've got so many nicknames, but he says, Toad, he goes, do you know what the difference is between a Yankee and a damn Yankee? I'm like, no, sir, I don't. He says, a Yankee, someone from the north that comes down to visit. He says, a damn Yankee, someone from the north that comes down to live. I said, sir, I'll be leaving in a couple of months. So don't worry about me. We're all good. So,
That's hilarious. That's funny.
I thought I didn't know if that was a common saying down there or he just kind of winged it, but
we just call them all damn Yankees. That's that.
There's no adjectives in front of those Yankees, right? But
in good humor.
All right. So let me tell the viewers here just a couple things. I just did a little bit of research. You've done some research. I've done some research, and I just want to tell some people some basic facts. Then we can volley some things back and forth. All right. So I'm going to tell these folks a little bit about Texas. These are kind of like Wikipedia facts, what have you. But there's more than 30 million residents as of 2022 in the state of Texas. That's a lot of folks, and whew, I bet there's only like 10 Yankees down there in the whole state, because you guys know how to shoot. But anyway, then it's also stating that there's 268. Let me see if I get this number right. 268,596 square miles of landmass. Hopefully I documented that correctly. And I'm thinking like, wow, that's like, I already know it's crazy down there. And then they say it's Texas is the second largest state by both area and population. So I'm like, I knew it was big. I knew it was, I didn't really give it a whole lot of thought, where, everything's bigger in Texas. So I find it hard to believe that somebody beat Texas, put them in the number 2 slot. But Texas, the state motto is friendship. And I truly believe that. Some of those folks down here in Texas are the nicest people you ever run into. And let me see, just a couple little bits. The reason I'm doing this is for JJ Drones. He likes Trivial Pursuit and all this stuff. So I'm just trying to educate the dude, so, he can win a game, board game one day. Texas is the 28th state. The capital is Austin. The state bird is the mockingbird. I don't even know what a mockingbird looks like, but and the state flower is the bluebonnet. So with that being said, let's get on with the show. What do you think, Nick? You ready for it?
Sure. That mockingbird, by the way, is just a noisy squawking bird. It's nothing special.
Oh yeah. Is there a serious question? Like it's not a bird you can hunt or anything like a quail or a pheasant?
No, it's protected, and it's funny because they're real protective over their nest. So like if you're walking downtown and there's a tree and it's got a mockingbird nest in it, they're coming down and swooping at your head.
Wow.
Yeah.
They sound. Are we good with the sound? By the way, there's no echo or anything. Everything good?
Does it sound good on my end?
No, I'm like, yeah, you sound
Okay.
great. I'm like, I just want to make sure I don't have an echo or anything. Or
No, you sound good too.
all right, so
I wish I could see the chat on the StreamYard thing. I got my phone right beside the laptop so I can see everyone's. I'm looking at it that way.
okay,
So if you see me looking over down to the right, that's what I'm doing over here.
that's okay. I have a little cheat sheet to my left. I kind of propped up a clipboard, and I'll be looking over here. And then a lot of times, rather than looking at the camera lens, I look at the laptop. So I'll be looking down a little bit too. I found one thing interesting. I was doing some different research on fish, species in Texas, and it blew my mind to find out that they're saying there's like at minimum of 247 species of freshwater fish in Texas. I'm like, whoa! I'm like, I almost
That's a
thought that was
lot.
like, yeah, I'm thinking like that was like an error, or typo, or something like that. But so let's. Do you have anything you want to say to the folks? I'm just gonna let you chit chat. Talk about your anniversary coming up or anything like that, or.
Yeah, like Melinda said, pray for me with all 4 girls. That's I do have my hands full, so that's a fact. And it's going to get worse as they get older too. I know everybody's already told me, so I'm kind of a little bit scared about that. But we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when it gets here.
What you need to do, just when the first date shows up, just let them see cleaning, your
Oh yeah,
shotgun.
there won't be a gun in my safe. They're all going to be laid out where everybody can see them.
That's funny, but all right, let's get
No,
to
but
let's go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to say, man, I live a simple life. I love to hunt. And then in the spring and summer, I do a little fishing. I used to fish a lot more than I do. When I was single, I did a lot more hunting and fishing than I do now. But things slow down when you get kiddos and a wife, but it's all good. Wouldn't trade it for nothing.
There you go. There you go. I just thought of something. It looks like, I don't know how accurate this StreamYard thing is, but it looks like there's only 4 viewers in here right now. But I do want to tell the viewers that are in here right now, we're going to be doing basically like a 5-item giveaway at the end of the night. So at the end of this broadcast, there will be a little giveaway, show everybody, appreciation for you guys tuning in. And
that's awesome.
So Nick's done some really good homework. Like we didn't really, we both did homework. I shared something with him just to get like how we would do this concept on this broadcast. And then he shared a little bit back with me. So let's get this ball rolling.
All right. You going to start it?
Yep. I want to thank all my peeps for tuning in right now.
That's a good one.
Anyway. All right. So we're going to, there's different ways I want to do this. I'm going to talk about the saltwater fish of Texas. So I'm gonna mention one fish and talk a little bit about some facts or data on that, and then I'm gonna volley it to Nick if he's prepared, and then he can tell us whatever fact he wants to share, whether it's a hog or deer, whatever. But so anyway, right now we're going to start with this. This is called the Did You Know series. So Nick, I'm going to ask you this question: Did you know swordfish? The state record in Texas weighed in at 493 pounds. The measurement was 145.75 inches in length and was caught by a guy named Brian Barclay in the Gulf of Mexico on June 4th, 2013 on a rod and reel. The swordfish has a place in my heart because many, many years ago, like there was where I worked, we would travel 15 to 20 miles. We'd all pitch in money. There was a grocery store that was doing steamed Mako, and we would all pitch in money and go buy this steamed Mako. And I love steamed Mako, or I would say Mako. That's the next one. Swordfish is what I meant to say. But all right, so ball's in your court there, brother.
I'd like to know how long that dude fought that swordfish on a rod and reel. I bet that was some kind of adventure out there.
I've seen some crazy videos where like sometimes like swordfish and sailfish whatever they'll jump out of the water and they can like almost like harpoon you when they jump into the boat, so you
I've
have to
seen
be very
videos. Yeah,
you have to be very careful, how you handle and manage those fish.
exactly. All right. Well, I'll kick off one here. It's going to be a bunch of facts about hogs first.
Okay.
Uh, Over the entire U.S., did you know that from 1986 to 2020, the hog population has increased from an estimated 2.4 million, this is across the U.S., to 9 million. So that lets you know how much they're just exploding. And out of that 9 million, 2.6 of those reside in Texas.
That's crazy.
And they occupy every county in Texas, and there's 254 counties in Texas, so it's huge, obviously. But out of all those counties, there's only one county that doesn't have them, and it's El Paso County.
That blows my mind. Like I found honestly, like I don't know where El Paso. That's in the north, right?
No, it's the far west as you can go. Like it's
Oh, okay.
the very tip west of Texas.
Well, like it almost seems hard to believe that they would, like how can they document and prove that they have no, like, why, do you have any idea or?
No, I mean, I'm sure, even the population obviously is an estimate. They can't count each and every animal, but I'm sure they've got, flight study. I know they do flight studies with helicopters and, thermal imaging at night and stuff like that. And then they'll base, how many acres and how many hogs they count per that acre. And then they go through and they kind of just multiply it out like that. I've heard that's how they get their estimates. So
I remember years ago when I visited my uncle. He lived down in Kerrville, Texas, and we took a ride out into the Frio Canyon and that area and stuff like that. And he drove me out there one day, and then when I had my big Chevy Blazer, I went out there venturing a little bit. And I remember stopping at this general store on this corner, and this farmer, the rancher or whatever, he was inside, and I was just kind of like, a damn Yankee, trespass, or a Yankee just trespassing, just looking around, and I hear them talking basically something like, yeah, I got another one, and basically what I learned from that experience was there's a lot of Russian boar is what I heard, that they have, I guess I don't know, for whatever reason, they were brought over here and they started breeding with the domestic wild boar, and that's how they get big, and they have the big tusks, and those are the ones that are primarily creating the problem. Is that true? You have any input on that, or?
that is true. They're all, I would say there's no truly Russian boars or European boars. They're almost all hybrids. I'm not saying there's none out there, but they're almost all hybrids. The ones that I'm hunting and the ones that are causing all the destruction and all that, they're all crossbreeds.
All right, cool. Should we move on to the next fish here?
Sure.
All right, let's try this one. Since I flopped the last one, the next fish for saltwater fish. There's many saltwater fish in Texas. A lot of people just think of Texas as being all freshwater, but believe it or not, they have a lot of coastland, and it's very similar to Florida, is what I found when I was doing some of my research. So the state record in Texas for a longfin mako weighed in at 664 pounds, 128 inches, 128.50 inches in length, and was caught by a guy named Donald Ewing on May 4th, 1986, on a rod and reel in the Gulf of Mexico. Most of these are going to tell you like just on a rod and reel. I don't think any of these tell you more than a rod and reel, which it would be nice to, if you knew they caught it on a, squid or whatever, but most just say rod and reel. So I apologize for that, but that's the second did you know fact about.
That's amazing though. I mean, imagine catching a 600-pound fish on a rod and reel. And I've seen them where they're having to like dump water on the reels because their sea gets so hot.
Smoke.
That just amazes me.
Yep.
That's wild.
All right. Ball's in your court, brother.
All righty. Well, the next hog fact I've got is it's about how they breed. Okay, because they're just so they populate so fast, and that's why they can't really even get a handle on them. They hunt them with helicopters. They trap them. You know, uh, this brings up another point. It's kind of a side note. I get a lot of people asking me, "What do you do with all those hogs?" I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't eat all those hogs. I can't. If I kill 60 to 70 a year, it's not happening. I don't have the freezer space. I don't have I can't eat that much. Me and my family just can't. So I always keep my eyes and ears open for people who want them, but some of them just turn into coyote food. I just put it out there. But they're more like, I hate to say this, but they're more like rats here in Texas. I mean, it's bad. I mean, they multiply just like that, and they are everywhere, causing all kinds of damage. So anyway, back to the breeding thing. All right, so males can reach sexual maturity as early as 5 months, and females between the ages of 6 and 10 months. And most successful breeding attempts average at the age of 6 to 18 months. And then it says females will breed again within a week of weaning their young, and so they'll average 1 to 2 litters a year, each having 4 to 6 piglets, but can have as high as 12. But that's pretty rare. It's mostly always 6 to 8, right in that range right there.
That's crazy. That's
So you can just
wild.
imagine if you get a sounder, what's what they call a group of pigs, all right, and then you got 20 females in there, and they're each having 2 litters a year, between 6 and 8 on average, as high as 12. And just let you know how they balloon, and people are just they've tried a couple of different things. The state of Texas has been doing research for years on like some kind of way they can target poison just for the hogs, but they haven't able to come up with nothing, because everything else will eat it and then damages everything else. So they hadn't really come up with nothing yet, but they're still. I hear they're all pumping all kinds of money into research on that kind of thing. So
That's crazy. So, what can you give us an idea, like, um, in the state of Texas, when you buy a hunting license, is it a separate deer license or just for hogs, or how does that work? Does it matter if you're on public land or you're on private land, or like your own property, or how's that work?
okay, so they have you got your hunting and fishing license, or they have a super combo. All right. If you buy everything separate, you got your fishing, which is your saltwater and your freshwater. Okay, but you have to have a saltwater fish stamp. They piece it off to where they can make more money. Okay, but then you have your hunting, and then you have an archery stamp if you're going to use a bow and arrow. Then they have a uplands game bird, which is for turkey and quail and pheasant, stuff like that. And then they have like a migratory bird stamp, which is for like your dove, your sandhill crane, and stuff like that. But if you buy a super combo, which here, the resident, it costs $68 for the year. You get your hunting, fishing, you get your saltwater stamp, you get all those stamps that are included. And so basically you can do anything you want with that super combo. Now, if you are going to hunt duck and sandhill crane, then you have to have an extra stamp for that they add to that super combo.
Wow,
So to answer your question, it is one license if you buy the super combo.
Well, that's interesting. That's crazy. Now, does it matter if you're on let's say you're on your own property? Are you still required to have a license? Like if you're fishing in your pond or shooting a hog on your land, do you still have to be required to have a license? Or
Yes, if you're on your own land hunting, especially like if it's deer, let me separate them a little bit. They just changed not too long ago. Hogs, you do not have to have a hunting license anymore.
wow,
You don't even have you don't have to have a hunting license to hunt hogs. Okay. Now, everything else you do. And so most people who do are just going to get one anyway, because the game warden is going to be out there questioning you, like, what are you doing? Are you sure you're not trying to hunt deer? No, I'm out here hunting hogs. And then it's your word against theirs. You know what I'm saying? So it's
right,
like
right.
most of the time, everybody just gets a license and calls it good that way.
CYA. Yeah, I get
Exactly.
that. Yeah. Huh. When you were just talking about, the coyote bait, it reminded me when I lived in Virginia. At that time, I don't know what they do now, but for a period of time there, they had a $75 bounty on coyotes. And I think you could take one or two a year or something, and the state of Virginia would actually pay you a bounty. And does Texas do anything like that by chance with like coyotes or hogs or anything like that?
I think they have in the past, but they haven't done it in a long time.
Okay.
Now I do know there's individual counties. I believe it's Wise County, and I'm not really sure. I think that may be down like out east in East Texas, but that's a county that they have once before offered a bounty on hogs,
Okay.
and they go by the tail. You cut the tail off, turn in how many tails, and you get paid $5 a tail or whatever it is.
Oh, that's wow. That's pretty crazy. I just want to let all there's might be some new viewers in here. I appreciate it. And I'm not real experienced on this StreamYard thing. I did add a couple people to be moderators. I'm just watching the chat right now on StreamYard, but I do want to tell anybody who's new in this stream that at the end of this event we're going to have a small giveaway. There's like 5 items we're going to do. Nothing, big high dollar, but it's basically like a thank you for tuning in. And so, all right, I think I'm on deck, right, Nick? Am I on deck now? All right.
Yes, sir.
Saltwater fish from state of Texas, number 3, the state record. Nick, did you know that the state record king mackerel in the state of Texas weighed in at 79 pounds? It was a length of 58.50 inches and was caught by Mervyn Lepo on August 20th, 2006 on a rod and reel, obviously in the Gulf of Mexico. Wow. So those fish are pretty aggressive. They have I don't know if you ever seen a king mackerel, but they have a lot of sharp teeth. They're like almost look like a barracuda somewhat, it's a long, almost like a barracuda or a wahoo, but they're pretty aggressive fighters.
Wow. I've only caught 2 saltwater fish. I say 2. There's about 3 different ones that I've caught, and it's the trout, red drum, and sheep's head. Other than that, I haven't done a lot of. We went out on a boat, me and my friend. One time, we went out on out of Port Aransas, and we went out on what they call the Dolphin. It's a charter boat, and we went out there, and it was kind of a bummer. We had fun, but it was a bummer deal. There was only one person caught a fish. And I believe it was some. I think it was I want to say some kind of a tuna. I can't even remember what kind it was, but it was kind of a tuna.
Okay, wow. What now? That charter was it? See, where I grew up north, people would go out like they would call it like a head boat, and you like say you might go out with 30 or 40 people on a boat. Were you on a private charter with like just you guys, or 3 or 4
I wish
people?
it would have been that way, but no, it was a lot more of one of the one you're talking about. There was probably 30 people on the boat.
Yeah.
And you pay for a half-day trip or a full-day trip. And our half-day trip, we went 15 miles out, and they were using like ribbon fish. I don't know.
Okay.
They've got
Right.
little snakes or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what they were using. And they were trying different depths. It was pretty rough seas that day. I mean, it was, I don't know what the swells were, but I didn't get sick. My friend did, but I didn't. but I just think that a lot of times I've seen our bait kind of floating on top of the water, and the ones that they were trying down lower, were the people who were at least getting bites. That one person snagged that one. So I don't know. I think they had a little too many on the boat, if you ask me. But that's my opinion.
It can get crazy like that, but All right, brother, you're on deck with your next whatever fact you want to share.
All right, the next one I got is kind of let you know how nasty hogs are. They're capable of carrying and transmitting up to 30 bacterial, fungal, and viral diseases, which can threaten humans, livestock, and wildlife. Okay, so it's kind of nasty to say, but like when I go up to after I've killed a hog, I'll go over there, and you can literally see like it's not the same kind of lice that's on humans, but it's another form of lice, and they're just crawling in their hair everywhere, just everywhere, and there's ticks all over them. It's the people are like, if you could just see and smell a wild hog, you might change your mind about eating so many of them.
Well, it was so funny when you're talking about this, I'm thinking like, like you're talking about all these bacterial infections and fungus and all that. I'm like, just tell me about the meat. Is the meat safe to eat? That's all,
They say I've eaten lots of it. They say it's okay to eat. Because most of everything that if they did have something, it's going to cook out as long as it's cooked. So
I was just going to say that once it gets up to temperature, I'm sure anything that was in there is going to go away.
of course you can tell too. I've opened them up and skinned them down, and if the meat doesn't look right, the coloring out it goes. And then some of them it's because it's supposed to have a nice like clean pink pork look to it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's crazy. I'm just sitting here. What did you say? How many hogs are estimated in Texas again?
2.6 million.
That's crazy because I did a quick glance earlier and I thought I saw one that said 1.5. So, but like a lot of this research I'm doing, like they're older stats. Sometimes it's Google, whatever.
I seen the one that you're talking about, and actually, so I was like, man, I got to try to find something newer. And this one goes up to 2020. It's the newest one I could find. So
okay, that just blows my mind. Like instantly, me just being me, that's a lot of bacon. I'm like, wow, that's like, woo.
And that's another thing that they're not as fat as like a domestic hog. Okay, they're actually pretty lean,
Really?
and so like really you don't even get bacon off of them. There's not enough fat to have a good bacon, off of them. So it's like it's more like like pork tenderloins, ribs, stuff like that.
Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, am I on deck now?
You are.
All right, let's. This one is. I deliberately picked this one when I saw it on the Texas list because I have a story related to Florida that I think is pretty funny. I mean, like, all depends on people's humor. But anyway, Nick, did you know that the state record in Texas for the white grunt weighed in at 3.75 pounds, length of 18 inches, and was caught by a guy named Dan Schmidt on July 5th, 1997, on a rod and reel in the Gulf of Mexico? That doesn't sound like anything real impressive or anything. It's not a huge fish, whatever. But like what kind of I noticed on this, like 18 inches, that's pretty long for that kind of weight. But I worked at a famous bait shop down here for many, many years. And this is a truth. This is on my story time. I don't know if you ever saw this one. When I was starting at YouTube, I'm still terrible at it. I'm trying to get better, but like very, very like amateurish type content I put out there. But this story, it was so funny. A guy comes in one day and he says, let me show you this book here. I have it here somewhere. Where did I put this book? I got it here somewhere. Here it is. Hold on one second.
I'd like to see a picture of this fish you're talking about because I don't even know what when you said the name of him, I never even heard of that one. So
it's so funny. I've already done a fish talk on it. So when I do that, I cut out the pages of this book, and that's the one page I don't have because I've already done a fish talk on it. But so this guy comes into the bait shop one day, and he's like, hey, do you guys have any way to know world records? I hope you can hear me. I realize I'm backing away from the microphone here.
No, you're clear.
And he says, and I said, yeah, we've got this book, Sport Fish of Florida. Let me, So he goes, I caught this white grunt, and, I think it's, close to the record. And I said, well, let's go out and take a look at it, So I go look in his cooler. He's got it on ice and everything. And I'm looking at it. And I said, I think you're pretty close. Let's double check in the book. And like I said, I'm missing that page right now. But at the time, the Florida, I know the Florida record was, I want to say it was 6 pounds, 3 ounces, right? So the guy, I'm talking to this guy and I look at it. I was like, man, I said, I think you might have it. I said, this is what you need to do. I said, go up to Road Seafood right up here, about a half mile on the left-hand side. Go into the fish market, ask for Charlie. He's working right now. I already know he's working right now. He's part owner and he runs the fish market. They have the Toledo scales. He can weigh it for you and then print out the the weight thing, when they weigh their fish by, So he comes back about a half hour later. He goes, yeah. He goes, I beat it by 3 ounces. And I'm like, man, that's awesome, dude. I said, that's great. So we're talking, and this guy was like that was, I probably wouldn't be as patient nowadays as I was back then, because I was more excited for him than he was for himself. But so I said, yeah, that's great, man. I said, why don't we go out and take a picture, you against the ball, because it's kind of like a famous name placed and everything. So I'm not going to mention it because I don't work there anymore. But the guy pretty much tells me F you, and I'm like, so we're talking a little bit more. So like, we're talking for a couple more minutes, and like he's telling me the story and all this. And we get to it again, and he pretty much repeats the same thing. And I'm like, so we get to the third. And I'm thinking to myself, even before I asked him the third time, I'm like, all right, this is like, something's got to happen here, So he pretty much tells me, no, same two, words. I called out sick today. I don't want anybody to know. So guy catches a Florida state record and
Wow.
has it documented, but he called out sick and didn't. I'm like, I'm not reporting it. I'm just for your own,
That's
just for you to have a
crazy.
picture, brother, But anyway, so that's that. So you're on deck.
Okay. My next did you know fact is did you know that the estimated annual loss to agricultural fields and stuff like that in Texas is by hogs is estimated to be 118.8 million and 2.5 billion in agricultural loss over the entire US.
That's crazy.
And so that they're a huge problem, And then I even went a little farther and on there's $36 million involved with hog to vehicle crashes.
Wow. I know when I lived in Virginia, it was crazy with the deer. It was all like national forest around. And it was like, it was, you couldn't drive 5 miles or 10 miles, with, without almost hitting a deer. I remember one day I came around a turn and there was this big old cow in the road. I was like, oh, great, and I'm a Yankee, how do you get a cow? I'm like, shoo, I don't, how do you talk to a cow to get him out of the road? It was just crazy.
Just go lightly bump them a little bit.
But wow,
But
that's great.
that's my last, or not my last one, but I think you're on deck now.
All right. I'm on deck here. Nick, did you know the state record of Texas for black grouper weighed in at 124 pounds? That's pretty heavy for a black grouper. Let me tell you that right now. The length of 63 inches was caught by a guy named Tim Ostrich II in the Gulf of Mexico on a rod and reel. The black grouper, that's a big old fish. That's to catch it on a rod and reel too. Like I'm not going to go tell the story again, but there was a practical joke. It was a story time recently where a guy had speared they called a black carbureto, which is pretty much the same thing, but he shot it with a spear gun, diving on a reef. But this guy to catch it on a rod and reel, that's something. That's impressive.
I've seen some videos on YouTube with the grouper and some of them things. When you see them surface and they just roll over, and you're like, oh, that's it. They're just huge.
That's the Goliath grouper. Yeah, those.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, those things are huge.
They're crazy. They are crazy.
I don't even see how you even get those in at all. Some kind of little crane apparatus or something.
Well, you're not even allowed to pull them out of the water anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they're a protected species, and they've recently talked about. I don't know if this passed yet or not, but they were talking about because there's so many, and they feed on so many other types of fish. They just devour everything. Like some of these things look like a Volkswagen. I mean, they're so darn big, and so they're trying to control the population by. I forget. I think they were talking like $150 a year or something like that. You'd buy a permit. It'd almost be like a lottery type thing, like people do for hunting or whatever, and then just try and eliminate some of these Goliath grouper because they just eat so many other parts of the food chain, the aqua system.
Imagine they do. They probably have mouths the size of the dining room table.
They're crazy. Like I've talked to guys that are divers and stuff like that, have to be on reefs, and then all of a sudden they say they see a big one, and they're like, most of these guys that I know are like protect themselves, but it'd be like, if you dropped your harpoon or something, you're like, it's you against them. They're crazy. There was a guy in Bonita Springs. This was 15 years ago. College kid and his father would come in the bait shop and they go fish. A really poor video. I have it on my story time, and they catch a 4.5 or 5. I think it was a 4.5 foot black tip shark. The film quality was terrible, but you could still see the gist of what happened. And they're bringing it up, and all of a sudden this Goliath grouper just comes up and devours a 4.5 foot black tip shark. It was just gone. It was like just eating like a pretzel. It was like no big deal. It was just gone.
It's crazy.
But
yeah, that's wild.
Let me. I'm going to hit mute real quick, and I'm going to let you take the floor. You can talk about the next thing here. I'll be right back. I got to.
All right. Check. Sounds good. Well, since I'm up, the next thing I was going to say was, you hear about all these huge hogs, like weighing thousands of pounds that people kill. And in some states, they even called one Hogzilla. And it was like posted, I think it was like 1,200 pounds or something. I can't remember the exact weight on it. But there's not as many of those big ones running around as people think. I'm not saying there's not some out there, but like, for instance, the largest hog killed documented that I could find here in the state of Texas, this is according to Google, and this is the most current that I could find, was 488 pounds. Okay. Which is a big hog. I mean, that's a big hog. Considering my biggest was probably right around 300. And I thought that thing was an absolute giant. So, but that's, like I said, the Hogzilla, I want to say it was like 1,100 something pound out of Georgia or something. But then there's stories of people who will raise them and get them huge and then release them and then shoot them and say they killed the biggest hog, and have a big story that way. But that's about it. Just the hogs are well overpopulated and need to be under control. And I try to do my part. If you've watched my channel, I try to do my part. So,
did I miss anything important?
Nah, I was just talking about how you hear all these stories of these huge hogs weighing thousands of pounds and stuff, and I'm not saying they're not out there. Like that one called Hogzilla out of Georgia or something was like 1,100 pounds, but sometimes that can be a little inflated.
Yeah, it looked. I saw that one when I was doing my research, and it just didn't look credible to me.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, it was like photoshopped or something. It just didn't look real, And then there was another record. There was like supposedly the largest hog, but it was still alive or something when I was doing the Google research. And so it wasn't like an actual, it was like domestically raised basically, but.
And I was telling the folks that the biggest one that I've seen documented in Texas, according to Google, was 488 pounds, which is a big hog. Don't get me wrong,
That is.
But it's not no 1,200 pounds,
There you go. And did you tell anybody yet what's your estimated largest hog that you've dispatched?
I just went over that too, and it was probably around in the 300 pound range. Yeah. And if you look at my picture for my channel picture, it's that gold hog that's in that picture, and we called him Goldilocks. Okay. And I actually shot that pig with a 12 gauge.
Wow.
And so I was close range. I was sitting in my bow stand, and he was about 25 yards away, and I had a semi-automatic shotgun, and I let him have it with a couple of them. So buckshot.
I don't know if you heard the little bit of drama that's been going on here, at the house here with the guy
Yeah, you had a
shooting
heck of a
stuff.
day
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. So just, I went out there this morning and I yelled, "Hey, I know Nick Conway, multi-hunter 24/7." It's been quiet all day long, brother.
Yeah, I bet it has.
No problem. I said, go check his channel out because he'll be coming to pay you a visit, brother.
That's
So it's been quiet.
hilarious.
It's been quiet all day long. So I think I'm on deck for the last saltwater fish. So let's get to, you want to move on or what?
Yeah, you're up.
All right. So, Nick, did you know state record cobia fish in Texas weighed in at 108.44 pounds and had a length of 71 inches and was caught by a guy named Mike Albanese on May 9th, 1998 in the Gulf of Mexico on a rod and reel. Imagine that.
Yeah,
They're all rod and reel here.
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
They are rod and reel. I mean, to me, that'd be a heck of a time right there.
Do you ever see a cobia? A cobia almost looks like a shark, like it's the same body shape almost, but has like a light stripe down the side. But they're cool. They're very good eating fish. But
I'm gonna
so
have to look up a lot of these species. My dad has done a lot back when he was in younger and in better health. He used to go. Him and my uncle used to go out to Port Aransas and do a lot of jetty fishing.
okay,
And then they also went out on the charters themselves a lot, and they had some good luck out there. They caught tarpon and black tip shark, and
right,
he on some of them shark he brought home, and I remember as a kid eating it. It was very good,
yeah.
really tasty. It's really tasty.
The thing, I'm glad you mentioned shark because this is a cool fact for people, and JJ Drones for his trivia, knowledge in the future. But when a shark gets stressed, they urinate through their skin. So what you have to do with the shark is you basically when you catch a shark, you have to bleed them out right away. And what a lot of then you have to try and obviously bleed them out. Then put it on ice and then when you do the fillets, a lot of people they will soak them in buttermilk like for hours or overnight or whatever, and it takes away any bitterness, whatever.
No.
But when they get stressed, they will do that urination process, and it kind of taints the meat. But if you bleed them out right away, it's supposed to prevent that. But the buttermilk also helps the process.
Huh? That's pretty cool. Did not know that.
There you go. Well played, my friend.
Now I do.
All right, you're on deck, brother.
Well, that's all my hog facts. I'm on the deer now.
All right, there you go.
Kind of the same type questions and answers here. Over the entire state of Texas, there's an estimated 5.3 million white-tailed deer that inhabit 252 of the 254 counties. And once again, El Paso, and then there's another one, Hudspeth counties are the only ones that don't report to have any huntable numbers of deer. So the way I took that is there might be some deer there, but they're just very few,
Gotcha. That's pretty wild.
But 5.3 million, and most of those reside in the hill country.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kerrville, kind of down there where you were talking about earlier.
I love that place. I tell you, when I went down there to visit I had it was a crazy time in my life. I tore my Achilles tendon, total sever on my Achilles tendon, and then the next day my dad died. Then I had surgery, and then when I was trying to rehab it, like my leg still is not 100%, but I was in a cast or a walking boot for like almost a year, and that's when I went down there. Kind of like I had a little bit of money, and I went and visited to the Frio Canyon and stuff like that, and I just fell in love with that whole area. I think I even sent you that link about in the Frio Canyon. It was used to be called Major's Campground. I think it's called Zubins or Zubers or something with a Z that. I thought would be a really cool place to have
like a meetup.
Yeah, the meetup would be really cool. It's just like what do they? I'm meant to ask you this. I noticed down there. I don't remember it's the Frio River or the Guadalupe. I get them mixed up, but they have those little I call them like river crossings. They're like subsurface, but they're kind of like a concrete pad you can drive across a river, but you're not really literally driving. It's kind of like man-made, but it's a crossing. You know what I'm talking about? What do you guys call that down there?
Yeah,
So
because
just like a river crossing, or
uh, I don't know exactly what they call that. I do know that even like on some of these, like my uncle was working on a big ranch, and they had one of them concrete paths going over there because they have a deep creek, and it was always had water in it, and they had to make one of those crossings on their place.
wow.
Yeah, but I don't know exactly which one, what kind you're talking about.
There, like right there when I went to that campground, it was so beautiful. I had a big high raised Chevy Blazer, and it was really cool. But I'll never forget this one photograph I took. It was something like it would be on a postcard. It was beautiful, like the water. I kid you not, and I'm not exaggerating one bit. I'm in the middle of the river on one of those uh, river crossings, whatever. My blazer already sat up high, but I looked to the left, and the river was doing like a 90-degree turn, but it was a big cliff, and the water was crystal. It's the clearest, cleanest water I've ever seen. You could literally see fish like hundreds of yards away. It just blew my mind, and I couldn't appreciate it as much as I wanted to because of my cast in my leg, my walking boot, and everything. I really couldn't go out and like hike through the canyon or anything like that, but it's a place people need to see. It would be a great meetup spot.
There's a lot of gorgeous spots down in the hill country there in that area you're talking about. Tons of pretty places.
Cool. So we move on to some freshwater fish here.
Absolutely.
All right. So now, did you know that I'm going to start off with some of the other different types of fish, and then we're going to save the one that everybody wants to know about for Texas. Uh,
Okay.
did you know the red ear sunfish state record in Texas weighed in at 2.99 pounds, length of 14 inches, and was caught by John Runnels on April 1st, 1997, at Lady Bird Lake, unknown bait. Now it was funny. I might as well mention it now before I forget to ask you. As I'm mentioning some of these waterways, like lakes or rivers, just let me know if any of those are close to where you reside, or if you had any experience, fishing or camping or just visiting that area. Just let me know.
Okay.
But
That one I have not.
okay, I've heard of it. I just don't know much about it. But there is a common theme in here. I'm going to hopefully I'll remember when I get to the end about the time of year some of these records are caught. I think most people will find interesting. So, all right, ball's in your court, brother.
All righty. I was about to look up Ladybird. uh, all right. Out of all the counties in Texas, Llano and Mason counties, which is down in the hill country, kind of in the area you're talking about, have the most deer. Uh, that area of the hill country boasts out of the 5.3 that the entire state is estimated to have, that area has 2.3 million of them just in that block of counties that's considered the hill country. That's why when you're
I
driving down
believe
the
it.
roads, down there, you got to be careful.
This is another story. I got at the same time with my uncle down there in Kerrville. We were going out. He was just showing me around the hill country, and couple things, like he was showing me some stuff that just blew my mind. And we're just we're just driving down the road, and he goes, and you probably know what they're called. I don't know what they're called, but it was the first time in my life I've ever seen black deer. They look like dogs almost, but big. Have you ever seen the black deer? It's like some I almost want to say it was a Russian deer or imported from somewhere from Europe, but it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. It was like a black deer. Have you? I know there's albino deer, but
there's a bunch like in the hill country down there. There's a bunch of exotics like
yeah,
axis and black buck and stuff like that. So it could have been. I bet you've seen it as some kind of an exotic.
yeah, no doubt in my mind. That just blew my mind. But wow,
Crazy.
are you up, brother?
Oh, let's see. I think I am. All right, this
Oh,
is just a fun fact here. Deer can run up to 30 miles an hour and leap as high as 10 feet in a single jump. And then you're talking about your albino stuff. Also, 1 in 30,000 deer is an albino
that blows.
on
Both of those
estimate.
things, like just like be able to jump 10 feet. That's impressive. And then, the albino fact. That's crazy. That. Ooh, unbelievable.
I've never seen an albino with my own eyes. My dad, when he was working there in town in Abilene, when he was still working, he took a picture. Well, his coworker took a picture out by the airport. There was an albino doe running around right outside of town, and oh, she was gorgeous. But he took a picture, so there was one out here around Abilene somewhere. I just never have seen one.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. The All right, guess I'm on deck here. I'm not sure if we got out of order, but let me just run with this. Did you know the state record in Texas for a brown trout weighed in at 7.12 pounds, length of 24 inches, and was caught by Jeff DeLong in the Guadalupe River on March 7th, 1986. So once again, listen to these dates, like especially the month and time of year. First one we talked about was the red ear sunfish, April 1st, and now we're talking March 7th. So this is going to be a common theme somewhat on most of these freshwater fish. So,
Good
all
old
right,
spawning season. That's what that all boils down to.
temperature's good. It's not too
Yep.
hot. It's like, you know, I know when I went to Garland like many, many times, I stayed there for, many summers and stuff. Not a whole lot of people want to fish when it's 107 or 110 or
No.
whatever out. So that's like, I'm looking at this. It's like you're saying it could be spawning season or the temperature's conducive for people to be outdoors, but it's like, it's interesting, but all right, run with it, brother. Run with it.
All right. There's another fun fact. One in every 65 female deer grows some sort of antlers. They
Wow.
actually, yeah, they'll have all the female parts, but they'll grow a rack just like a buck will.
That blows my mind.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty
that's
wild.
yeah, that's crazy. Do you know by like from talking to Cody, like what is like what's the strangest thing he's ever seen, or has he encountered anything like that, or
Yeah, actually, it was one of his last little short. I can't remember if it was a live. I think it was just a pop up live that he did. Uh, it was he was skinning out a head of a deer, getting ready to take the skull out or whatever and take the hide off the skull. And he felt something hard underneath the surface. I don't know if you remember seeing this.
I
There's
don't
something
think
hard
so.
underneath the surface, and there was a broken antler completely in between the hide and the skull of this deer from another deer. When they got in a fight, it broke the tip off on
Oh
the
wow,
inside.
that's crazy.
And he said that's the probably one of the craziest things he's ever seen, because in his 20 plus years of doing taxidermy, that he's never seen that before. So
That's pretty wild. That's awesome. I mean, I say awesome. Like you see, he could document it, and that's pretty neat right there.
and
Uh,
he said, there was no like visible like it was healed over. There was nothing wrong with underneath the skin. It looked healthy. It just was in there, and that takes a lot of force to break those antlers. Now it's amazing, because it takes a lot of force, and when they're fighting, they're getting after it.
wow. All right, so I guess I'm on deck here. Did you know in the state of Texas, the red-bellied pacu weighed in at the state record weighed in at 8.95 pounds, length of 19 inches. It was caught by Joni Frazier in the San Marcos River on March 14th, 2006, on an unknown bait. So a couple things that are interesting about that. Anybody, do you know what a pacu is by chance? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that
I've
correct.
heard of them, but I haven't like seen one, but I have heard about them.
They look like somewhat. It's like a football shaped fish, but they have
Are they
human like
blunt?
teeth.
Oh, okay.
No, no, no. They're like more like almost shaped like a pompano, but they have human-like teeth. It's crazy. They, I've seen some of the other ones like from like somewhere in like the Amazon or something. They almost look like a piranha or something, but these are more like human-like teeth. So
That's
I was kind of
crazy.
curious because I don't know that Florida has those down here, but when I saw that, I said I had to research that. So
And where'd
all
you say
right,
that was? What was that?
that was in called the place a waterway called the San Marcos River. I don't know what county that's in or whatever, but
Okay, I've been to San Marcos, but yeah, it's pretty down there too. All right, am I up?
yes, sir.
All right. This is about the size of some deer, and then some of the breeds and stuff. The biggest open range buck. When I say open range, because I don't know if anybody's familiar, but with a lot of there's some places here in Texas, especially South Texas, where they actually have game fences, and then that's a big debate. Some people like them, some people don't. It's just a personal preference. I'm not going to knock anybody for liking to hunt game fences. But I like to hunt them out in open range and where they can do their thing and cross wherever they want to cross. But anyway, that's a whole nother debate there. But the biggest one open range ever killed was it's called the Brady buck, killed in McCulloch County in 1892, and it had 284 inches of antler on its head.
That's crazy. That's like I didn't even know they like documented that back then.
Yeah, and it's like of course it's called the Boone and Crockett scale, and that's how they measure. They'll measure the length of the antlers and the main beams and the circumference of the mass and the spread, and all that goes into a final score. But that one I just told you about is 47th of largest of all time in the U.S.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's pretty. That's a lot. I mean, you go figure a good elk would score like in the 300-inch range, and this is a white-tailed deer scoring 284.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's blows my mind. Um, all right, let's move on. I see we're losing interest here. There's only a couple of viewers at the moment, but I think the two viewers are me and you. But
That's all right. I enjoy talking to you, Gary.
we'll roll with this. Maybe people will watch it on the replay. It's going to make the giveaway real easy, and it's that's definitely going to be considering there's two viewers and 5 giveaway prizes. We might have to double them up or something here.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So, did you know the state of Texas record for a blue catfish weighed in at 121 pounds, 121.50 pounds, and the length of 58 inches? It was caught by a guy named Cody Mullinex on January 16th, 2004 at Lake Texoma on a shad. I find that one interesting because that was one that was caught, in the winter months, and it actually says what bait it was on a shad. So that's interesting. I know that for a lot of catfishing folks, a lot of YouTube channels, they love using shad for that. So that's that little bit of trivia.
I have actually camped with my family at Lake Texoma, and I always wanted to go on a chartered striper fishing trip on that lake because they're known for awesome striper fishing. Awesome.
When I was young, I want to say like 12 or 13 or something like that. One of my dad's friends growing up was a guy named Don Close. He was the general manager of Ken Pruitt Buick in Garland, Texas. And he was a big outdoorsman and stuff like that. And he took us to Lake Texoma. And I kid you not, I know it was Don, my father, myself, and maybe Don's son. It could have been 4 of us, but I bet we caught every bit of 100 crappie. It was just, it was unbelievable. It was almost too easy. It was like but it was fun, especially when you're a kid, a young kid. That's probably one of the perfect fish for youngsters to be out there catching.
That is the best. Like, as far as in my opinion, that's the best eating fish. Oh, I love to eat me some crappie. Woo,
Yeah,
I could tear
it
that stuff up.
it was good. It was good. You got anything else on deck there, sir?
Yes, sir. It's major game animals in Texas. Of course, is the whitetail, mule deer, desert bighorn sheep, pronghorn antelope, uh, elk. There's elk out in West Texas, like in the Trans-Pecos area. Uh, and then, of course, there's also a lot of free range exotics, which include, but not limited to, axis deer, fallow deer, sika deer, mouflon sheep, Corsican sheep, and aoudad sheep. So there's quite a lot of stuff to hunt in Texas.
Yeah, that's I didn't know any of those names pretty much. I mean, most of those names, should I say? That blows my mind. It's like so many, species like that. That's wild.
The aoudad sheep, me and Cody actually, we Texas Parks and Wildlife has a draw system. Okay, so every year during the summer they put out, you know, a booklet online where you can turn, you pay like $3 per person for an application, and you fill out your application in different categories. So you may have gun deer, either sex, gun deer, female only, archery, either sex. And anyway, and you fill it out, and they have all these different places you can hunt. Well, if you get drawn for those, some of them are state parks, some of them are wildlife management areas and stuff like that. But if you get drawn for those, then you get to hunt basically for a small permit fee. And me and Cody got drawn for the Devil's River State Natural Area, kind of down by Sonora in that area. And me and him were successful both on getting some aoudad sheep. But man, it was some of the prettiest, most remote. I mean, you felt like you were in a different area, and so primitive too, because they actually had, old Indian caves that had the paintings and the drawings inside
Oh,
there.
wow.
And you could find, arrowheads. All matter of fact, some of the what do you call them? Park rangers. They actually had to set up cameras in a couple of these caves because every time it rained, it would wash up new batches of arrowheads, and they didn't want them to people taking them and going in there. So they would put cameras up to catch people that were trying to go in there and rob all them arrowheads. And then a
Wow.
lot of times they would go in there right after a rain, scoop them all up, take them somewhere else, just so they wouldn't be stolen.
Wow. That blows
Yeah,
my
so
mind. That's crazy.
amazing place, and it's got the river, the Devil's River, of course, going through it, and it's kind of like you were talking about earlier, just crystal clear, and you can kayak that whole little river and fish, and they got all kinds of species of fish and stuff in there. It's a beautiful place.
Huh. Wow.
Rugged, real rugged, man. Me and Cody almost had blisters on our feet from hiking around. It was wild.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe that. All right, I'm going to move on to another freshwater fish state record of Texas. Did you know the state record in Texas for a smallmouth bass weighed in at 7.93 pounds and it was a length of 23 inches and was caught by a guy named Tim Teague at Lake Meredith on, listen to this, March 13th, 1998 on unknown bait. So there's a common pattern here.
Yeah, I truly believe it's because of the spawning, because that's when we catch our most fish around here in our area too. It's just March and April, right around when spring break kicks off for the schools. That's when you want to be out there because the crappie are up shallow, the white bass are up shallow, largemouth bass are up shallow, so in their spawning beds and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there's a lot of fish caught in that time.
Huh. You got anything else on your list there, brother?
My last deal was just going to brag a little bit. My last season, not this last season, but the season before last, I actually killed my biggest buck. We were talking about that 284 inch one. Well, this one was 144 inches on the one that I shot. It was my biggest buck ever, and Cody mounted him for me, and he looks real nice in my living room wall in there.
Nice. That's awesome. So you're saying that you said the record was 288 and you got one half the size of that, right?
144. But here's the deal, like 144, I mean, it's a good deer.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It sounds great to me.
But it's like if for every 10 inches, so it's like if you need to get in the 150 range, the 160 range, it's like such a drastic feat to just jump up that extra mark.
Right.
Like my biggest up to this point wasn't even in the 130s. Like it was like I had killed tons of deer all my life in the 120s, but then I finally jumped up to that neck, had a big one show up, and there he was.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when I did that video on the different recognitions of fish. In the state of Florida, you get 10 of this, and you get this, and 30. And it's like, so I can understand what you're talking about, hitting the next level, the next recognition level.
Oh
That's
yeah.
pretty wild. All right, let me move on to the last fish right here for freshwater, and all the fish here, Texas state record related. Did you know the largest largemouth bass in the state of Texas weighed in at 18.18 pounds, had a length of 25.5 inches, and was caught by a guy named Barry St. Clair on January 24th, 1992 at Lake Fork, unknown
Wow.
bait. So that's one of the rare ones that was caught. And like, that's weird to me that somebody's catching a bass that big in January. I don't know where Lake Fork is, but that seems to me, usually like fish slow down when the water temperature gets colder. So I don't know. Have you ever heard of Lake Fork or?
I have, and it's a premier bass lake uh, here in the state. And I don't know if you're familiar with. There's a Joey Stewart. She has a channel on YouTube here, and her husband Scott.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
okay, they live in the Lake Fork area.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah, I watch their stuff.
yeah, and but yeah, and the only thing I can think of is because I've heard that a lot of your larger females start real early. Come, like the spawning. They'll start kind of getting, like, I guess, prepped. However they do that, but they will actually start, and that's why there's a lot of big, large females right before the regular spawn will kick off. That's when they catch a lot of them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. So now we're in a little bit of, I guess I am in a dilemma here. You can see the StreamYard thing. I'm just only showing one viewer in here right now. So we have 5 prizes. So
Gary, we're
what?
super popular, okay?
I know. Like,
Uh,
woo.
I would just postpone your giveaway if I were you, and just wait till another day or something.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. If anybody, the one person that's in here, please say "Go Cowboys" right now, and you are going to win a prize. All right. The only viewer that's still in here, please say "Go Cowboys," and you will win another prize, a prize. All right. And I'm going to tell you what it is. I have 5 prizes, and I'm actually going to, we're going to make this very easy. This is prize number 1, the American flag from Bass Pro Shop.
Awesome.
Then we have the Wacky Rig setup right here. It's like a $7 retail value. And we have an NRA can koozie. And we have a different style NRA can koozie. And then this is, I would call this the grand prize, so to speak. It is a camouflage Cabela's hat. It's a snapback with a G-Money gold hat hook on it. So I don't know who's in here, but I don't see anybody speaking up. So I'm going to make a command decision here, and we're going to give this till about 8:15. I'm looking at 8:14 on my laptop, and I have some ideas what we can do with this, but we're going to hang tight here for a second.
All right.
But
Uh-oh.
anyway,
there you go. There's somebody. I'm going to tell them, say "Go Cowboys."
Oh, hey, you know what? Oklahoma Adrenaline Life. Have you ever watched his channel, Nick?
I have not. No.
A really cool young man. His parents own a feed store. They're in Oklahoma. He's good friends with the Crockers and what have you. So, matter of fact, I know exactly what I'm going to do for him. He's the automatic winner. And is Deer Corner still in here or not? Or I'm trying to figure out who the other person was. But all right, we're going to give this to the gentleman from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Nice.
Somebody say go. I'm going to give this to Preston because he's a cool dude anyway. And nobody has spoken up in time. I did not see a Go Cowboys here. Preston is a gentleman who runs the channel Oklahoma Adrenaline Outdoors. So we're
Check
going
him
to
out.
really good content. So that's going to go to Preston. He already has a hat hook or two, I think. And with that being said, I just want to confirm I'm not seeing a Go Cowboys yet. Are you not seeing that, or?
I haven't
All
seen
right.
nothing since he came in and said, "What's up?"
These two are going to go to a friend of mine named Nick Conway, NRA Koozie Cups. All right, they're going to go down to Texas, and let me see. What can we
Appreciate
do?
that, Gary. You don't have to do that.
No, it's all right. We can do that. All right, there's a third person in here. The
Uh-oh.
third person that just came in, please reveal yourself, your identity. You have an excellent chance to win a prize. There's 2 prizes left and 3 viewers in here. 2 of them have already won. All you have to do is say, "Go Cowboys," and you may win a prize. The 2 prizes that are still available are the American flag from Bass Pro Shops and the Wacky Rig by David Dudley. It is a 6-pack. Comes with the Wacky Rig O-rings and a 2-aught hook. So this may be real easy. I might just have to give this away to anybody I want. So
There you go.
Nick, I think this is a crash and burn ending to this video.
I think so. Oh, here's somebody else. Oh, I can't do it even from Texas. Still, nope. That's old Rocco.
Oh man.
Rocco with the Laugh Channel.
Yeah. Well, we're not laughing, Rocco. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Once again, Nick, you're getting the American flag.
All right.
And Preston is going to get the Wacky Rig. So I know he likes to bass fish and fish. So I wish this event was a little more successful. It started out pretty well, and I guess we just bored the hell out of people. Or
I guess so, man.
I bored the hell out of people.
No, it was a joint. It was a joint venture there.
All right. I may go into radio now, not just video.
I had a good time visiting with you anyway, Gary.
All right. Well,
hey, maybe our channels will continue to grow and we'll attract more people. Come up with some innovative ideas here.
Yeah, like my fear is you do the giveaway in the beginning, everybody's going to leave, and I did it at the end, and nobody stayed. So it's live and learn experience, right, brother?
It's one of those deals you'd be like, oh yeah. I bet you mentioned something like give $25 gift card at the very end, but you got to be here the whole time.
That's right. And you got to say "Go Cowboys" every 10 minutes.
Exactly. That's right.
Oh man. All right. Well, I got to see once I end this broadcast. I'm going to see how many people unsubscribe, and then I'll try to I'll start back from 0 if I have to. But anyway, I appreciate you coming on, and I had fun to be, honestly, and
I did too.
It was fun talking. People are going to learn some stuff whether they watch it today, tomorrow, whatever.
Exactly.
But anyway,
I need to get a few of these lives under my belt anyway, so I can kind of chill out my nerves a little bit.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was very nervous because I was, I still have a lot to learn as far as bringing people up. And matter of fact, let me just double check one thing here real quick while I got you as the guinea pig.
Okay.
All right. So I'm testing some of these different windows out. This is how you can set up the screen. So it's kind of cool. I don't have the fear now that I feel like I got some of it out of the way, but.
How does it work? So say if you came up on your channel with the live like this, and then you just sent the person that you were going to have up the link. I wonder if they went in that way, if they could see the chat. Because right now I see me and you, but I can't see the chat on the laptop. So I have to look at my phone in order to see the chat. But if you did that with a link, I wonder if that would work.
You're on StreamYard or you're on YouTube?
I'm actually on the StreamYard. I'll use the link that you provided. And
that's kind of odd because I'm pretty sure when I was on the other night, there's a left header column. I forget what it says, and then there's like then it says comments on the right side at the top of the header. So like mine right now automatically is showing all the
Oh,
comments.
it's me.
Oh, so you see what I'm
It,
talking about?
you know what it was? It was slid over onto the private chat area.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha.
So it wasn't showing nothing. The second I went to comments, it showed everything. So see, I told you I need some more experience with this.
All right. Well, you're the reason we only have one viewer right now.
I
Thanks a
know
lot,
I
Nick.
screwed it all up,
All
Gary.
right. Well, you're one of my favorite peeps, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me, buddy.
All right. Take care. Tell your family I said hello, and we'll be talking again sometime soon. Thank
All
you.
right. You see you, Gary.
See you.